Let's go to this breaking story. Suspended Western Cape Community Safety MEC Albert Fritz has now been fired by Premier Alan Winde. An independent investigation has found, and to quote, there is sufficient credibility in the allegations of sexual misconduct, end quotes, against Fritz. The report goes on to say, and I quote again, there is sufficient credibility in the allegations of alcohol abuse, end quotes. And it also confirms there is sufficient evidence of Fritz creating an environment that is conducive to sexual harassment. Well, Premier Winde says he's extremely angry about the findings and calls this a shocking violation of Fritz's oath of office. It's understood that MEC Henri Marais will continue as acting MEC for community safety. For more on the firing of MEC Fritz, we're joined now by Western Cape Premier Alan Winde. Premier, thank you so much for joining us. A community safety MEC, really a man that was put in a position to be at the coalface of our most vulnerable communities. It's incredibly sad.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm angry, I'm disappointed. It really is. You know, reading that report, I received it on Sunday evening. I met with the advocate on Monday, yesterday afternoon. And yeah, so this morning followed through and fired the MEC from my cabinet. And yeah, you know, obviously, the independent investigator is not a court of law, but she ran a full investigation, audi ultram partem, both sides. And as you said, sufficient credibility of the allegations of sexual misconduct, also of the allegations of alcohol abuse, and then creating this environment in which these abuses could happen. And so, quite frankly, with the position, I mean, there's just no doubt I have to remove him from the cabinet. Of course, the party would now have to do another process, but he is now fired from my cabinet.
Premier, can you expand at all on the allegations or the circumstances surrounding the allegations? Because, you know, there has been so much speculation about what could have happened, especially with disadvantaged young women, you know, being at the mercy, allegedly, of former MEC Fritz.
Correct. So these were the allegations which I first got on the 14th of January, and I personally was involved in those first 6 individuals that came forward. Advocate Williams interviewed 18 people altogether, both people coming forward to her and the 6 that came to me, but also some of the 18 were also witnesses brought forward by Mr. Fritz in the process. I've also met now this morning with the complainants who first brought the case to me. I also in agreement with them and also with the advocate. We're not making the full analysis of the detail available, because that is up to them now in their process going forward of laying criminal charges. The advocate is of the opinion that there is definitely enough evidence here for them to go ahead and lay criminal charges. Obviously, that's what they must do, so that will be their next step.
Premier, can you tell us if there was one specific incident or several incidents that have been investigated?
Several incidents have been investigated.
All right. Talk me through, if you can, please, what happens now in terms of a criminal case being opened. Who does that? Is that for the complainants to do? And you, as Premier, play any role in that?
Okay, so the criminal case has to be opened by the complainant. The advocate and our team have said that we'll give the complainants the support. We've also advised them which NGOs are the best to give them that support in going forward, but it is their case to lay. And of course, we will see what happens now in the next day or so.
Premier, I know you said you're very angry, but I have to ask you whether there were any rumours that came to your office, whether there were any sort of talk at the water cooler about these kind of allegations against the former Community Safety MEC? Or were these, when these first allegations came up, the first time that you were made aware of any of it?
So the first time I had any whiff of it was late in November last year by a third party. And that was from one person, and the third party said one person would like to come forward, and I said absolutely. I said they can't come to you, I can't get detail from you, they must come to me, and then obviously I can react to it. I then said, and best would be they contact me directly, and if they can, write it down so I have it in an affidavit format. And then during that period from December and January, the first individual got some legal support and put it into writing, and by that stage a second came forward, and on the 14th of January was the first time I really had these allegations in front of me. I say I'm angry now. I was really shocked then. I couldn't believe it. But, and then what happened is you got the sort of over the next 7 days, a number of other people came forward, and that was why I did immediate suspension, and not only suspension of the NEC, I also, through the head of department, to protect specifically the whistleblowers, that certain individuals were suspended within the department. That also is a process that is happening at the moment, because of course their involvement, to see whether they were involved or not, and so that process is also continuing. But I have a direct responsibility for the members of my cabinet according to the Constitution, and that's the position that I've taken today, is to remove the MEC now from my cabinet. So basically fired him from the cabinet based on this report, and of course now the other processes must kick in.
All right, thank you so much there, Premier Winde, Premier of the Western Cape, on the sacking of former Community Safety MEC Albert Fritz. What a sad story when a man in charge, there are allegations still at this stage, but when a man in charge of protecting our most vulnerable has these allegations against him of sexual misconduct.